My name is Laurens. I work for the Strategy and Innovation team. A lot has been said about embedded finance today. I will skip most of my my talks on educating you on embedded finance. I want to talk mainly about the partnership angle and what I learned so far and what we're doing. So maybe to start with a model for a change. I actually borrowed the model from Sarina and her colleagues from McKinsey, but I think it's good to talk about it, about the role separation, right? So that's also the way we look at it at ABN AMRO. So to keep it simple, like distribution, where does the customer sit? We talked a lot about customer journeys today. I think it's important to understand that customer journey, really focus on that with the innovation team, obviously the tech, and then where banks are most famous for is the balance sheet. And I think embedded finance is obviously a lot about innovation. That's why it also sits mainly with innovation at ABN AMRO. There's a lot of stuff to innovate that has changed, right, over the past. I think Johannes just showed a nice history of what has been. And that means also that we need to innovate and that we need to look at these things in a different way, whether that's from a technology or from compliance or a regulatory, legal perspective, etc. And especially if you go into the execution mode and you actually start to do embedded finance, you have new data sets. That means like new risk models. You have like integration stuff. You have new technology that now we're in the Gen AI phase, of course. What happens if embedded finance starts to actually pop up in your ChatGPT interface, which is not unimaginable in the near future? Like, how does that look? That also means there are new financial products, new configurations, maybe configurations that we never saw before, and we have also new business models with often shared revenue, shared risk, etc. So this is all complicated. I like complicated. And then the other thing is like collaboration, right? So if you want to do this right, and I think we just saw a few presentations about this, you need to collaborate. And that comes down to people, to smart people sitting in a room, multidisciplinary teams, working together, figuring out this crazy puzzle, right? I like puzzles, compliance and legal, not always like these puzzles, but I think if you have like a shared vision, and I put that at the top because I think that's really important when you work together with partners. I heard a lot about compliance by design and compliance up front and legal, etc. I think there's even one step before that. It's like having a shared vision with the partners you're actually going to work with. Like, do we have the same ambition for the end customer? Do we agree on what we like to achieve here with this collaboration, which is really vital, because down the line we often encounter that we work with partners, or we did a first pilot, and then we figured out, they're not really in it the same way we are. And then you actually get a little bit of a clash on vision, which doesn't help in the really difficult decision making. And I think it's really important that you spend a lot of time on this, because it's often skipped. Like, let's go to, we have great tech, let's execute, let's do it. But what do we actually want to achieve? And then there's all this other complex stuff, because you need to connect technically sound, you need to work out the legal stuff, the risk sharing, but also the profit sharing. And you wind up actually running a joint business. Now let's move to how do we do this at ABN AMRO. So we have two ways to innovate. I'm on the right, but let's start on the left. So on the left we do corporate innovation. We start innovations ourselves. I actually have a few colleagues in the room that are responsible for these embedded finances. So let's start with ID and Pay. That's Hugo over there. That's a great embedded finance innovation, combines identity, payments, treasury, banking as a service, and Hugo and his team are scaling this up, and it's very well received by the market. We also have Buy Now, Pay Later for businesses. I don't know if Simon is still in the room. He was here today. That's also an innovation we launched ourselves. We have Payday, where we do instant payouts for gig worker platforms, which is actually, I think, most mature at the moment, which is also really interesting, especially youngsters who like to, for example, babysit. They don't want to wait until the end of the month. They typically want their funds on their bank account on Friday evening or Saturday evening when they go out. So they hit the pay button and they get paid out, and we take over that risk and make sure that the payment is done. So that's basically launching our own innovations, and we spin those out in the business. That's the preferred route. So at some point, they become too big for the innovation team to host, and then we find a landing spot within the business, and they can scale it further. I'm focused on the right, so that's corporate venturing, so that's outside in. So my thesis always is like great ideas, but these ideas already exist and are already being built by other companies, and they typically can move faster, especially in the first phases of developing new products. And also there, to find good partners, we decided to partner, so we're a bit like a double. So on the left we have indeed our startup accelerator. So we're launching our 4th cohort this fall. So every year we have an annual program. We partnered up with Techstars, which is a renowned accelerator from the US, and in partnership we find the best and promising and most relevant for ABN AMRO early stage fintechs. We select 10 every year out of a selection of hundreds. And then we offer them a program. In the program, we offer them access to mentors from Techstars, which are mainly former entrepreneurs and people who have had a career in fintech, but also to banking people. And that can be people from the innovation team, but also people from compliance, from legal, from risk, from the business, who help them with all the difficult questions in early stage startups faces, because they typically don't start with compliance, they start with a product and an idea. And then beyond the program, when we help them accelerate in the 3 months. We do pilots, proof concepts, and we try to further develop the relationship. So this is really early stage, very young companies, gives us access to the future of fintech. And then recently we partnered up with Motive Partners. That's a little bit more later stage. So also startups, scale-ups, but also private equity and growth. That's a global fintech, private equity specialized in financial services. They took over the asset management of our former ABN AMRO Ventures portfolio. They also have, next to that, a sizable portfolio themselves. And with them, we're actually now looking into that whole set of fintech companies to accelerate the innovation and digital transformation of ABN AMRO. And we also made a sizable investment in their funds. So, and this is also what the way how we think about ecosystems and mitigate risk. So we invest in Techstars, we invest in Motive, and together we share the same vision about the future of finance, and together we also want to accelerate business together. So a little bit of a different take than maybe other corporates, but we feel that this is the way to go, and we feel we need to just focus. So some criteria for success. So I'm always a little bit focused on the people on the client side. So I think one is really customer centricity. I talked about the shared vision, and that also is a shared vision on what you want to achieve with the customer. I think the duty of care perspective is often overlooked, especially in embedded finance. I'm not going to call out companies, but there was this one company from the Nordics, and I think I saw my nephew, who is like 10 years old, order something on a credit with 2 clicks of a button. I thought, like, okay, why is this even allowed, and why is this even implemented? I think it's totally immoral and stupid that we make like 10-year-olds, give them the opportunity to buy stuff on credit, right? It's like, what the F? So, yeah, literally, like, we have like a huge debt problem, and we're like, oh, embedded finance, let's do it. Yeah, this is. So what's customer centricity, right? It's really about doing what's right for the customer. Second is obviously collaboration. And again, I'm really bullish on shared vision, right? I know partnership mindset and partner up, but shared vision is key, because it's going to be hard down the line. We heard a couple of examples how hard it can be to do this, and how heavily regulated, and how important it is to get all the legal and compliance stuff right. So it will be a bumpy road. So you need to be absolutely sure at the beginning that we really want to do this. Work with the best, right? We selected a really good accelerator company, we selected a really good specialized VC and private equity firm to work with, people who really know what they're doing, and that's how we wanna execute this partnership strategy, and also work data driven, right? So we have a very iterative approach at the innovation team. We don't invest for like, okay, let's do a project now and just burn money on it for 3 years. Like really iteratively, like, are we still on the right track? What does the data tell us? And can we then maybe pivot along the way and be flexible in that sense, and also take your stakeholders along and make them also look at the data. I think it's really important that you dare to sit in the room with all the stakeholders, with all the perspectives, let everybody speak. So like, how do you look at this? What have we learned from this step? We're now scaling from 50 to 150 customers. What do we see? I think it's really key because indeed, I don't know who mentioned it, it's projects don't get killed over like budget, but over like messing things up and doing things wrong, or like running into a tunnel. That's not what you need. And especially with partners, that becomes like super difficult, right? Because you need to also align both sides. Like, hey, we're making a small pivot to the right. We also need to convince your stakeholders and your senior management that this is the right thing. And invest in teams that deliver, right? So I think at ABN it has been, the innovation team has become that mature that that also now talent within the bank understands, like, if I deliver in the short term, I get more resources, right? And that's something like a fairness principle that works really well to attract talent to actually do entrepreneurial stuff. So then the other way around, what do we have to offer if there are any fintechs in the room, etc., that want to partner with the bank? Of course, we have a partner mentality. Access to capital, to customers. That's where most, especially young fintechs, come to us, right? Our cost of capital is extremely low. We're a well-performing Dutch bank with a AA, AAA status. Nobody can compete with our balance sheet, except Rabo and ING. We have a clear vision and strategy. I think the strategy is really clear. The vision of the bank is really clear. That also helps for me when I engage with fintech companies or potential partners like this. We're not interested in this. Yes, this is a core segment or a core thing we want to go after. We have a very strong innovation team and partners. We just talked about that. We're startup friendly, and we have, of course, deep banking expertise, especially in the early stage accelerator we run. This is the main feedback we get. Like, what an amazing set of colleagues we had. We thought we were engaging with a stuffy old bank, and actually we find out that there's like an amazing set of colleagues, young and old, that are willing to help us and give us access to this expertise. And then also these models help because we have skin in the game. So I can also tell my colleagues, like, we invested in those companies. It's fine to tell them a little bit more than you normally would do, because we also financially benefit if these companies grow. Finally, the secret sauce. I think really what I learned is like focus, focus, focus. I see a lot of companies and people, peers that come to me that do a lot, right? I don't like to do a lot. I like to do like a few things really, really good. I think that's key. Patience, it's often overlooked, especially we innovators. We like to go fast, move fast, break things. I think Mark Zuckerberg told some tech people at a conference many years ago, I don't believe in move fast and break things. It's just stupid. So be patient and be mindful about how you do stuff. Of course, sometimes you need to push back on compliance and on risk. Like, hey, this is a small pilot. Should we really treat this as a multi-country implementation that goes to 1 million customers? This is just a small Gen AI pilot for 10 customers. Like, maybe not make this big, but I think patience is really important, and also with innovation, it's hard. Financial services is hard, so you need to be patient. And finally, a safe environment, and what I mean by that is really like I think at the innovation team, but also in the accelerator and in everything we do, we try to create a really safe environment to also make mistakes, right? And also sometimes reward people for taking a certain risk or trying a different approach. And I think that has been a big cultural shift from also what you could say like the mothership, right? Which is super risk averse for very good reasons, because we need to be super risk averse, otherwise we run critical infrastructure, we're critical part of the economy. But I think if you want to do innovation, if you really want to test things and scale up, you need to have that safe environment where it's okay, and where also top talent feels like, okay, I can take a little bit of a risk here, I can do this, and when I make a mistake, I get backed by leadership. So that was it. So interesting to know more. I will stick around. Happy to take some questions now. Also, if you want to do business or with one of my colleagues, IDP, or etc. Yes.
Yeah. What is the objective of ABN AMRO Bank from the outside in innovation?
The objective is to accelerate actually by working together with
what?
Yeah, our digital transformation and innovation efforts. Yeah. So where there's like best in class capabilities, where there's great software, where there's great solutions, infrastructure, products, or distribution channels, that, for example, where our clientele is very active, then we want to partner up, right? We're not the wholesale ABN AMRO of the 80s where all the clients came to the office and came to us. That's not, right? Probably our clients in 5 years' time are talking to an AI agent, and then the question is like, how are we present? How are we present when a client asks an AI agent or an AI pin, like, how much money can I lend for buying a house? And then that's the embedded finance future vision. That's where we need to partner and be prepared.
Accelerate your own digital transformation.
Exactly.
That's the core objective.
Yeah, we're not a software company. We're not going to build all this infrastructure and solutions.
Yeah, I'm just curious if you can elaborate a bit about the results you achieved in these years that you worked with accelerators. Like, can you maybe give a benchmark or something on the success? That will be interesting to understand. And my second question is around how you're dealing as a big bank with compliance and new techs. Are you basically doing same risk assessments as you would do for your own stack, or is there a kind of an accelerator program for that? Maybe you can elaborate a bit on that, because that's interesting also to understand the perspective from a big bank using fintech technology from scratch.
Yeah. Yeah, so for the accelerator, I have a couple of metrics that I feel are important. So one is, of course, what the startups say about the program. So we have an incredibly high NPS, actually one of the top 3 NPSs as a partner in the whole global Techstars network, which I'm super proud of, because there are like 50 accelerators on a global scale with many well-known brands. Second metric for me is the amount of pilots and proof of concepts we've done. So far with, I think, almost half of the cohort we've done pilots and proof of concepts. And then the third metric for me is like commercial implementations. And that's difficult with early stages fintechs, right? If you want to scale an early stage fintech to work with a big bank like ABN AMRO. I think there we have 3 companies that I think are high potential for future commercial collaborations. And yeah, I also look at it pragmatically. So every year we have 10 fintechs. I want to work with at least 1 to 2 per cohort, and really scale those to, I wouldn't say to Adyen and Molly, but like proper businesses that would make the whole show at least financially very attractive for the bank, but that's not the main goal. The main goal is obviously to accelerate the digital transformation and innovation. Then to your second question, like compliance accelerator, I don't know if there's a compliance accelerator. I don't think that's, I think I come back to what I said about you need to have like two companies, in this case, right? You need to have two companies, the bank and a fintech, come together and say, hey, we want to do this together and create the best team around that. And then I think these guys already said like, then the execution is like pivotal, right? Shared vision. We want to do this together. That should be step one. Step two is like work with really great companies and create a multidisciplinary team. Third is get senior management involved. We work only with the executive board when we do these things, right? We really want their buy-in to actually make this work. And fourth is then do it iteratively, right? Just take step by step, 6 weeks, 3 months, then do a demo, check in again. This is what we learned. This is how we want to move forward. Do we have your commitment again? And move forward like that. And by doing that, you also keep the board involved. You keep track of your impediments. You make them aware of your impediments. They can also remove impediments or that. I think that's really the key to success. But I really believe in shared vision and strong teams that come together. That's the only way. In the end, it's a people's business. And it sounds maybe fluffy, but you need people that come in at 8 o'clock in the morning that really want to do this and that really want to see this thing come to scale. That's the only way this works. There are no shortcuts, unfortunately. I hope that answers your question.
I will get back to